by the founder of one of the world's biggest Christian evangelical churches, late Prophet Temitope Balogun Joshua, also known as TB Joshua. Now, dozens of ex-synagogue Church of All Nation members, 5 British, alleged atrocities, including rape and forced abortions by Nigeria's late TB Joshua. In the report released today, the allegations of abuse in a secretive Lagos compound span almost 20 years. The Synagogue Church of All Nations did not respond to the allegations, but said previous claims had been unfounded. TB Joshua, who died on June 5, 2021, was a charismatic and hugely successful preacher and televangelist who had an immense global following. The BBC's findings, which was carried out with international media platform Open Democracy in an over a 2-year investigation, is the first time multiple former church insiders have come forward to speak on the record, saying they have spent years trying to raise the alarm but have effectively been silenced. Throughout the 1990s and early 2000s, tens of thousands of pilgrims from Europe, the Americas, Southeast Asia, and Africa traveled to the church in Nigeria to witness TB Joshua performing healing miracles. At least 150 visitors lived with him as disciples inside his compound in Lagos, sometimes for decades. Now, the Constitutional Court of the Democratic Republic of Congo is due to begin hearing a challenge into last month's presidential election. The petition to annul the presidential results was submitted last week by Theodore Ngoy, who came last with 0.02% of the vote. He termed the results a sham. The two main opposition candidates, Moise Katumbi and Martin Fayulu, disputed the results but declined to challenge them in court. The Constitutional Court is expected to give a ruling before January 12, when the electoral body will announce the final results. If Mr. Ngoy's challenge is thrown out, President Felix Tshisekedi will be sworn in for his second term on the 20th of January after winning the election with 73% of the vote. The 20th December election was marred by widespread logistical problems. It had to be extended to a second day in some parts of the vast country. On Sunday, the electoral body disqualified 82 legislative, provincial and local candidates citing fraud and violence. Elsewhere, President Said Abdullahi Dani has been re-elected as the leader of Somalia's semi-autonomous region of Puntland after months of electoral disputes. He was voted back with 45 votes by members of Puntland's parliament on Monday. His closest challenger, Gulet Saleh Barre, received 21 votes, while Abshir Omar Jamar, a former Somali foreign affairs minister, finished third. Mr. Deni was immediately sworn in for his second term. Like the rest of Somalia, Puntland holds indirect elections where clan elders pick MPs, who in turn elect the president. The vote followed campaigns marred by disputes and deadly violence. Last year, at least 26 people were killed in Garowe in clashes between forces loyal to Mr. Deni and the opposition over a proposal to hold a direct election, which has since been shelved. And still on Somaliland, the defense minister of the self-declared Republic of Somalia has resigned in protest against a deal granting Ethiopia access to a seaport in the breakaway region of Somalia. Abiy Kani Mohammed Ateyu criticized Somaliland President Musa Bihi Abdi for not consulting with Council of Ministers on the port deal with Ethiopia, saying they heard about it from the media. Mr. Ateyu hails from Somaliland's Awdal region, where Ethiopia reportedly wants to set up its military base in the coastal town of Lugaya. The Memorandum of Understanding reportedly gives landlocked Ethiopia access to the Red Sea in exchange for it recognizing Somaliland as an independent state. Somalia has termed the deal an act of aggression and recalled its ambassador to Addis Ababa. There are reports that Ethiopia's ambassador to Somalia has also returned to Addis Ababa amid a diplomatic row between the two countries. Now, do stay with us. We'll take a short break. Welcome back. And still in the news, Kenya is facing a backlash over the visa-free entry policy introduced for all foreigners this month, with some terming it hectic. President William Ruto announced a policy last month to advocate for a visa-free travel within the African continent. Kenyan authorities have since clarified that while the country grants visa-free entry, visitors need to apply for electronic travel authorization by submitting documentation and paying a $30 of £23 processing fee. The requirement also applies to countries whose citizens previously had unrestricted access to Kenya. Authorities said by Sunday, Kenya had received more than 9,000 visa applications through the digital platform. But some foreigners are now criticizing the government, saying that the new policy has created confusion and made travel to Kenya tougher and costlier. Some Kenyans have voiced fears that the tougher restrictions could trigger a boycott by some foreigners, or that other countries could impose reciprocal restrictions. Now in Southern Africa, the presidency has dismissed social media reports claiming President Cyril Ramaphosa has taken ill and was admitted to a military hospital in the capital, Pretoria. This is after Mr. Ramaphosa failed to attend a meeting organized by the ruling National Congress on Sunday in Mpumalanga province. The ANC announced that Mr. Ramaphosa had been excused from the meeting due to an unexplained emergency. The announcement sparked rumors and speculations about the president's health. Presidential spokesperson Vincent Mangwenya posted on X on Sunday that the presidency is fine. He was never hospitalized and there was no emergency. Mr. Mangwenya said the president decided to spend the rest of the day at home ahead of a busy week, terming the rumors malicious. While in Libya, the results of the judicial inquiry into the Dana disaster show that the dams that gave way last September were fragile. Libya's Attorney General Al-Sadiq Al-Sur on Sunday said at least 25 experts were unanimous in their assessment that negligence led to the disaster. The report published last week said that the disaster could have been avoided if the recommendations made since 2003 to maintain these dams and build a third had been applied. Now, according to official figures, massive flooding devastated much of the northeastern Libyan city on September 10 and 11, leaving 4,540 people dead. The torrent of water washed away neighborhoods and damaged critical sewage and water infrastructure that has yet to be repaired. And this is according to the United Nations, which also said at the time most of the death could have been avoided. More than 30,000 people were displaced in Dana and nearly 1 million people were affected by the floods, according to the UN's International Organization for Migration, IOM. While Libya's state-owned energy firm has declared a state of force majeure at Al-Sharara oil field after protests disrupted production at the facility. Now, force majeure is a legal measure that exempts contractual parties from any obligations arising due to an event beyond their control, such as fighting or natural disasters. The National Oil Corporation said in a statement the field, which had daily production of up to 300,000 barrels, was closed a few days ago following protests in the area. It stated further that the closure has resulted in the suspension of crude oil supplies from the field to Zawiya terminal. The NOC did not elaborate on the protesters' demands, but said negotiations are ongoing to resume production as soon as possible. Libya's oil output has been frequently disrupted by social and political protests since the uprising against its former leader, Muammar Gaddafi, in 2011. More news after the break. Do stay with us. Welcome back. We have this breaking story where President Bola Ahmed Tinubu today suspended the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Betta Edu, following controversies about financial transactions she authorized in her ministry. The suspension, according to a statement by presidential spokesperson Ajuri Ngalale, is with immediate effect. Also, the scandal includes the approval of payment of hundreds of millions of naira into private accounts of civil servants. Also, the minister says that in line with his avowed commitment to uphold the highest standards of integrity, transparency and accountability in the management of the Commonwealth of Nigerians, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu suspends the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Dr. Betta Edu, from office with immediate effect. And this is according to presidential spokesman Ajuri Ngalale. Moving on, in Zimbabwe, 15 miners have been trapped in a gold mine for 4 days and they have actually been rescued. Mines Minister Soda Zemi said the workers were healthy and conscious. The Red Wing gold mine owned by Metallic Corporation caved in after the shaft collapsed on Thursday. Officials said an earth tremor might have caused the accident. Families of the trapped workers have been camping at the mine site in the mining village of Pentalagoto, 270 kilometers east of the capital Harare, waiting for the rescue. The area is home to many undocumented workers who scrap for a living amid economic hardship. Now, the trial of former Gambian Interior Minister Usman Sonko has been opened today in the city of Bellinzona and expected to last about 3 weeks. The former official is charged with crimes against humanity relating to torture, kidnapping, sexual violence and unlawful killings between 2000 and 2016 under then President Yahya Jammeh. Sonko was arrested in Bern, Switzerland on January 26, 2017, the day after Trial International filed a criminal complaint against him. The Office of the Attorney General of Switzerland filed an indictment against Sonko before the Federal Criminal Court on April 17, 2023. The trial is possible because Swiss law recognizes universal jurisdiction over certain serious international crimes, allowing for the prosecution of these crimes no matter where they were committed and regardless of the nationality of the suspects or victims. In December 24, 2021, the final report of Gambia's Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission found that Jammeh and 69 of his associates committed crimes against humanity and called for their prosecution. While in sports, the Confederation of African Football has picked Victor Osimhen among the top 10 players that will shine at the upcoming 2023 Africa Cup of Nations in Cote d'Ivoire. CAF described Osimhen as a figurehead of Nigeria's rich attacking front line. Senegal's Sadio Mane, Egypt's talisman Mohamed Salah and Mohamed Kudus are some of the other top stars tipped by CAF to shine in Cote d'Ivoire. The Napoli hitman was top scorer in the qualifiers with 10 goals. The 25-year-old is also head into the competition as a reigning African Footballer of the Year. Osimhen will feature the AFCON for the second time. The striker made his first appearance 5 years ago in Egypt, but missed out on the last edition hosted by Cameroon due to injury. Now, to wrap up the Africa news on VOP TV, here are the headline stories we read earlier. You heard about the BBC's report which revealed late Prophet TB Joshua raped and tortured worshippers. Also, Somaliland minister quits over seaport deal with Ethiopia. Kenya faces backlash over hectic visa-free. And in sports, few days to AFCON 2023, CAF names Osimhen among top stars to shine. Thank you for staying with us. My name is Esther Wachuku. Good afternoon.
It's no longer news that the NNPC held plan to